I'm Rainbow, and welcome to Dimensional Walking. Michael's been doing quite a few videos lately, so I thought I would jump in here and give him a little bit of a break. So today what I thought I would talk about is haunted humans, haunted, my theories and my opinions on locations that are haunted, cemeteries, different groups going out there and actually doing investigations and research. I know I probably talked about this before, but what I've been doing for the last probably couple months is I have been looking at a lot of different programs and channels on YouTube that specialize in paranormal research. And these are the different groups that go out there and they go to haunted locations and they actually try to get some type of communication going with whatever is in a location, a home, a cemetery, or whatever the situation is. And I noticed that there's a few things that I think is really important to state here, because I think because of the popularity of these channels and obviously the ghost adventure guys and there was the ghost hunters, and then there was the dead files, and a lot of those different programs that I really enjoyed looking at and watching. I think that something's happened with the human dynamic in hauntings, and I think that it's changed the whole way that we look at spirits and we look at what happens after we pass on. And it also changes the way that we look at being the only ones here in this reality, because we are not the only ones here in this reality. So it's obvious that we're going to have some interaction with other entities and beings, because we aren't the only ones that I truly believe have the right to be here. Now, there's probably others, and many others, who have come through the portals, natural, man-made, which would be a Ouija board, or anybody who's doing scrying, because scrying also invites something into your home as well. And mirrors. Mirrors were the old Victorian way of speaking to the dead as well. And so now, today, we have mirrors everywhere. There's people who collect antique mirrors and put them up in their homes. In the old days, and even in different cultures today, if someone passes away in a home, they cover all the mirrors so that the person won't get confused, and they will go in the direction that they need to go. They'll go towards the light, or wherever it is that they're going to go, they'll go. So there's a few areas I wanted to talk about, because it seems like that when people go into haunted locations, and I'm talking severely haunted, and they get the reactions that they're looking for, they leave, they close the door, and nothing is resolved. Now, as a person who's kind of haunted, I think that there's people who are haunted people, and I don't mean that in the negative sense. I just think that we're born with paranormal happening to us since we were babies. So we're just kind of like a part of it. So if I go into a location like this, and a severely haunted location, I have protocols that I do, because I know that I can make the situation better or I can make the situation worse. So what I'm just going to suggest to everybody is, if you get the reaction or you get the communication that you're looking for, don't haul ass out, close the door, and just leave the situation the way that it is. Resolution is what most people are looking for. They want answers, and they want it to end. As far as I go, and as far as I am concerned with me, no matter where I go, I encountered the paranormal. So it's not like I can just ask someone to say, hey, will you get rid of whatever? I know I can communicate with whatever and say, hey, you got to leave me alone. I need my space. But if you're dealing with a severely haunted location, it's not so much that you get the communication, you get your research, and you haul butt out door and you leave the people dealing with the problem. And I'm finding that with different groups going out, and I'm not saying everybody, because that would be so wrong. There's people who are going out there trying to help people resolve these problems. But there's also people who can't resolve them. And they just leave the people saying, hey, I can't help you. And, well, yeah, you're going to have to figure out something else. Well, you don't do that. Once you commit to helping people resolve these problems, you help get answers, and you go find someone else who can help. I mean, you don't just drop the ball and say, I can't help you. And I've heard that time and again where people say, hey, I asked this group to come in, they did research, and it was just too much for them, and they said, I can't help you. Well, then you go get someone else who can. And so what I realize is that communication with the spirits is vital, because if you're getting a reaction to questions, that's what you want. But then you have to resolve why they're there. And if they're not invited, then they have to go. And I think that's so important. And I think people have to understand this isn't a game. It may be, getting thrills because you get scared. Go to the fair for that. Get on rides and have a blast. Or Halloween, go into a haunted house and get your scares that way. But this is the real deal. Now, there's different beings and entities that are in these haunted locations. And I think that a lot of people look at the goodies and the baddies, and that just, there's no in between. And to me, there's so many shades of in between that it's nuts, because there's some beings who are here and we just can't see them. Not everything is going to have a physical body. It will have energy. And I don't think everybody who's passed on and died is always going to be the orbs that you see going by. I think there's going to be entities and beings that are orbs of light, and that's just how they're made up of, because we are made of energy as well. So we just happen to have the physical body. But I think we have to kind of take a look at each situation and say, hey, what is this? And kind of see how the people react to it, and what the people have done to aggravate the situation. And I don't think people do it on purpose. I don't think it's really because they just don't know. It's a learning process for everybody. But I think that we have to understand what they do to antagonize whatever is there. And it's just natural for people to get exhausted and tired. But there's certain entities who actually, they thrive on that negative energy. They thrive on just that source of energy that they get. That's their sustenance to stay there and keep the drama going, because that's what they do. And you have to understand that if you have that in the house, you got to get rid of it. Now, there's shadow people, and I call them intimidators. I don't know if they have always gone into families or into homes where there's families where a lot of times they just stare. They're just standing there, and a lot of people, they're intimidated, and that's why I call them the intimidators. But I think the important thing that everybody has to understand, you can't ask anything to leave if you're afraid, because it knows it. And if these entities have a higher sense of awareness to who you are and what you're doing, because they have an understanding of humans, they're going to know you're asking them to leave out of fear. They're not going to leave. This is not going to happen. So then that's why you get somebody like Michael and I, how we come in and we don't give them a choice. We tell them what they have to do. So that's what you want to do. You want to get someone who tells them what they have to do, and you want to get people who don't stop. They make sure they take care of the situation to the very end. And I'm not saying that there isn't demonic presence. I actually had an experience where I dealt with something that I thought was very close to that. And that's very scary. And that's outside of my realm. So I would obviously go get someone who can actually help me with that situation. But I wouldn't drop the ball with the people and just say, sorry, you're on your own. So that's a pet peeve of mine, is people going and doing research and then leaving the people dealing with the situation because they're too afraid to continue on with the research. So this isn't like a game, and it's not like on TV where you can kind of sit back in your chair and watch other people go out and venture into scary locations, and then kind of end your evening with watching various videos and knowing that, well, you didn't have to go through it, and seeing what they went through. It's not like a TV show where it's just it's something where you can just turn it off and just forget about it. When people are actually dealing with the haunted scenarios, the paranormal, the poltergeists, shadows, entities, beings, whatever it is, it's the real deal. So let's look at this as the real deal. Let's figure out what's going on. It could be something as simple as a human spirit that doesn't know what to do. They're attached to a location. Human spirits are so easy to deal with. Some of them are grumpy and probably no different in the afterlife than they were in the real world. But there are rules everybody has to follow. It's just the way it is. And if you understand that and know these beings have to go, these spirits have to go, they can't stay where they're not welcome. And the bottom line is that if you invite anything into your home, just make sure it's somebody you want to hang with. Don't do the Ouija boards. Don't do anything else where you communicate and talk with an entity and a spirit, one that you don't want there. Let someone else come in and get rid of it. It's not a game. It gets worse. If these beings and entities know that they have the upper hand, they're always going to stay, and they're going to do worse. And if you do anything to aggravate them, they do worse. My best suggestion for anybody is to get someone who's successful, who knows what they're doing, and who is not afraid to go in there and take care of business. And I think that's the important thing. Make sure that you have someone come into your home who can take care of business, or who knows somebody who can take care of business. So that's my opinion for today, or my little diatribe, I guess, is with watching these different programs. I just want you all to know that they might be fun to watch, but when people are really going through these experiences, it's very scary for them. And that's where Michael and I come in. So if anybody has had a scary experience or doesn't know what to do, I want you to know that Michael and I are here for you. And you can write us at dimensionalwalking@gmail.com. And we will get back in touch with you, and we'll try to figure something out for you. If you have a comment, if you have an experience that you want to share, go ahead and comment in on the down below and tell us what you think. And if you find this interesting, share this video with friends. And if you know a friend who is experiencing anything that has to do with the paranormal, show them this video and let them know that I'm very willing to help. That's just kind of what I do. So thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And Michael and I really appreciate all our subscribers. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for subscribing and for sharing our videos with other people. We greatly appreciate it. So for now, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'll come up with something. So take care. Bye-bye.